Let's go to Japan now, where 2 people have been shot dead and a third injured in a shooting at a military training range in the central Gifu prefecture. They're all members of Japan's ground self-defense force. Police have arrested a teenage soldier on suspicion of murder. Our Tokyo correspondent Shama Khalil gave us the latest.
Well, we've been hearing from the Chief of Staff of the Ground Self-Defense Forces, who's confirmed that an 18-year-old trainee, military trainee, has been arrested after he fired a rifle at 3 soldiers, 1 man in his 50s and 2 others in their 20s. We also understand now that the shooting happened during a fire training, a live fire training at that military shooting range. And we also know that 2 now have died. The Defense Ministry also said that the 3 who were shot at, the 3 victims, were the instructors, that this live fire shooting training was for trainees, for new recruits and potential candidates, and that we understand he was a new recruit, the 18-year-old shooter. He's now been arrested on suspicion of murder. He allegedly shot that rifle during the training. What we do not know is the motive behind this and the chronology. I've been watching local media, including NHK, with experts explaining how tightly secured and tightly controlled this environment is, and these areas are, these shooting ranges are, especially for the recruits. They say each one has their own lane. They're told to fire at a certain target. There aren't guns lying around. Essentially, these are locked up quite carefully and assigned also quite carefully. And so this is a very different context because it's a military context and it's a live fire shooting training. But it still remains quite shocking because gun violence in Japan is quite rare. You know, we know that, last year when the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated, he was gunned down. The perpetrator used a homemade gun, which shows you how difficult it is to get your hands on a gun here in Japan. But that still rocked the country and shocked everyone here and around the world. This year, a few months ago, Japan was also rattled when the current Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, was attacked with a smoke bomb. That was also quite shocking. And a few weeks ago, I was reporting on an incident, a knife and a shooting incident where 2 policemen were killed. All of this is to say that, yes, these incidents happen, but because of Japan's very strict rules on gun ownership, they still remain very rare. Civilians are only allowed to own gun rifles or air guns, and to do that, they have to get a license. They have to go through mental health tests and very strict exams. And it's very, very rare for this to happen in Japan. So despite the small numbers, it becomes quite shocking for people, especially in this context. But I'll give you a bit of an example, a stat. In 2014, for example, there were 6 gun deaths in Japan. Compare that to the United States, more than 33,000. This is why when this happens, it's quite concerning for people here around the country.
Shama Khalil for us in Tokyo there.